It's 4 o'clock and everybody's sitting in a school building. That's great. Very well. I'm Therese Hartman. I'm the co-president along with Tiarza Taylor of the Open Education Foundation. And just wanted to say that over the last 8 to 12 years, and especially this last season, some big changes have occurred that will continue to impact education. At the local level, attrition, due to the need to stay within our tight budget, has produced smaller classroom sizes. While nationally, we have a higher high school graduation rate, narrowing achievement gaps, and a greater number of students, especially girls, that are attending college. Now, at a time when educators are courageously raising the bar for student achievement, the job of our local teachers and staff has never been more critical to the success of our children and for the prosperity of our Ojai Valley. Folks involved in education will tell you that teaching is one of the most difficult jobs you can have, but also the most rewarding. In the opinion of Ojai Education Foundation, teachers and their support staff are our nation and community builders. We believe the strength of every single profession in our country comes from knowledge and skills that educators help instill in our students. It is therefore with great pleasure and a keen sense of pride that we honor the teachers and staff chosen for their outstanding performance. We congratulate each and every one of you for providing the kind of leadership it takes to be the change we all want to see in our world and in our Ojai Valley. But before we start the ceremony, I also want to recognize a key figure in the district, the big daddy of them all.
That's what you call me.
Now, I thought about who might be the best person to say something about Hank, and then I figured, well, it's kind of obvious because the person that spends the most time with him day in and day out is Dr. Smith, Hank's assistant. And so earlier she sent me a few things the little comments that she made, and I'll go ahead and read them unless you, no, please. She said, one might think the superintendent's office would be isolated from the general public, which is not true of the way Hank operates. His door is always open, and he is welcoming to everyone who asks for a minute of his time. Be it a parent with concerns about his or her child's education, or interactions on the playground, to an old-timer who stopped by to recall his memories of climbing in the nearby trees and the discipline his elementary teacher imparted in 1938. Hank extends his personal attention to each person who steps into the office. I have seen him gently guide a family when an expulsion was recommended, providing guidance not only to the student, but also to the parents who needed a touch of parenting advice. I've seen him gently and successfully guide a long-term teacher who'd allowed his occupation to become his identity into retirement. Hank extends this personal attention to everyone, and by hearing their concern and treating them fairly, he in return earns their trust and respect, which allows him to be an effective leader. Hank's extensive experience as a principal, assistant principal, and of course, as our superintendent for many years, has been instrumental as he navigates administrators, principals, and directors through the unique challenges our district has faced with declining enrollment and the associated financial difficulties in budgeting for limited resources. Hank is a hands-on leader, involved in gathering information and consulting with others, and yet he motivates principals, directors, and members of the public in the decision-making process. Hank takes the time to meet every credentialed teacher when he or she is hired, and his commitment to their needs continues on. His memory is impeccable. Frequently, staff, parents, and yes, students remark how impressed they are when Hank addresses them by name after meeting them briefly more than a year prior. Hank performs at such a high stature, I've said before, he has tireless energy, and his integrity constantly challenges me and others to intently review one's own performance and reach for a higher standard. I think that's well said. And your comments are also mirrored very closely by all of us on the board of the Ojai Education Foundation, as he has worked tirelessly to increase teacher salaries, keep schools open, and increase excellence in academics and the arts. From all of us, thank you. Woo!
obviously time to unretire Andy Junad. Nice job the last year for setting me up for next year. Actually, this is one of my favorite events. This coupled with what this year is actually a fairly small retiree class. We'll be honoring at 5:30. So if you do not have a program, Kathy, my office wife, thank you for the comments, and very much appreciate the comments. I really do. And we do have a program which reveals two things. One, it's a little fancier on one side, and on the other side, you'll see not only the winners this year, the recipients, but also the people who will be commenting about each person. A couple of words about that. But before I get to that, you can see that we have sort of tight quarters here. I think we've about used every square inch of floor space, but we do have some chairs up here, if you don't mind, right? Sitting in the black chairs, they're pretty comfortable. If you'd rather do that than stand. So as you look through here, you'll see that, except there you go, good. See, someone always says that. You'll see that the order of awards by school, alphabetically by school, with a little bit of an exception. We start with A Place to Grow, Jerry's going to be first. And then we end up with TOPA, the district office, we just try to put that last because we feel that it is separate from the schools. You'll also see that not every school is represented. So each year we combine San Antonio, Summit, Chaparral, and A Place to Grow, and we identify one classified staff person and one certificated staff person from the group. So this year you'll see the classified staff member is from A Place to Grow, and the certificated person is from San Antonio. So the totality of that group is somewhat similar to the typical school staff. I want to thank Julie. Julie, would you introduce yourself and your staff, right, for all the work that you've done?
I'm Julie Chesson. I'm the new director of nutrition services, and this is Cindy Tregler, and she is the kitchen manager over at Matilda Hall. So thank you so much for being here today to help out. I have such a great team, and ready to spread afterwards.
Please, after we're done, before we reconvene for the board meeting at 5:30, I'm certain there'll be plenty of time. Please have some, because a lot of work went into that. High Standard, by the way, said about High Standards. High Standards set by your predecessors, is evident of, right? You created this spread a number of years ago. So if you just follow that, the one of the thing I'm not going to do this year, I felt a little bit like a jumping jack here, where one person speaks, sits down, I get up to introduce the next person. You're perfectly capable of figuring that out on your own. So as you look, we're going to go horizontally, then vertically. Okay, so Sherry, you'll be first, and then when you're done, we go to Matilda, Javier will come next, and when Javier is done, then Carol will go, right? And then we'll go back to mine as well. We're done, see? Horizontal, vertical, and then I think you did, right? You guys are all educated type of people. So I'm not going to get up and introduce each next speaker. I'm sure we'll be able to figure all this out as we're done. And I've watched this mature over the years, and we have just a fabulous group this year. I know each person in one way or another, and we'll be done after the presenters and recipients. Recipients, by the way, you may speak when you receive it, or you may choose not to speak. It's totally your call. Totally your call. Okay, so as you come up, or maybe you've already decided on one or the other. Okay.
What about the percentage? What about the percentage?
Yeah, no, you have That's why you're a presenter.
And I'm going to play Vanna White today. Hi, I'm Tiara Zett Taylor with the OHA Education Foundation. We also have plaques and a dinner certificate for all of our recipients. So
Tell them where and what.
it's from the Ranch House. Many thanks to Joyce McCarthy on our board who helped us to secure, Joyce Robinson on our board who helped us secure the dinner certificates from the ranch house, so all of our
Two.
recipients will be
You actually
able
bring
to
bring
do
over
that.
significant other stuff. That's good. And so you'll hear from the TRs at the
So I'm
end.
gonna bounce up and present your.
Very good, okay. But first, before they have to speak, before you go, before you give
That's
it to them. Okay. So everybody got the program now, actual program, and what we're gonna do. Jerry, you're up. You're first.
Hey there, I'm Sherry Demas, and I am the director of Hudson Preschool. And I am honored to speak some words about Jackie Weckerbauer. When I think of Jackie, the first thing that pops into my mind is Mary Poppins. Not because of her accent, but because she possesses many of the same qualities as this fictional character. In the movie, when the Banks family are interviewing for the nanny position, all the candidates are blown away by the wind, and Mary Poppins is the only one left. That's Jackie. She blows away all the others and stands out as the best. Mary Poppins is very caring, but can also be very stern. Jackie has a huge heart for the children, but has high expectations for the children as well. At one point in the movie, Mr. Banks is concerned about the day's events with his children, and he decides to let Mary go. We're not letting you go. But before you know it, Mary has changed all of that around, and Mr. Banks winds up taking his children to work with him the next day. Like Mary, Jackie has a way of turning things around. The children will come to her often with their own agenda, but before you know it, she has them doing the tasks they were supposed to be doing in the first place. Mary Poppins also has a bottomless bag of tricks. When things get a little bit crazy, not often, but they do, Jackie can come up with something to turn things around just like that and get the kids back on track. Mary Poppins also has quite an imagination. Jackie's wonderful at getting the kids talking and using their imagination. Mary Poppins also has a very calm and comforting demeanor. I think that's where the accent comes in here, because Jackie's also like that. So what child wouldn't want to spend the day with someone like Mary Poppins? I know to the staff and the children, Jackie is practically perfect in every way.
Hello everybody, Javier Ramirez, principal of Matilla Junior High School, and it's an honor for me to recognize our...
Javier,
Want to give him the
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my speech, thank you.
Sorry.
I just wanted to quickly say thank you. We have a wonderful team in place to grow, and that's what makes it so wonderful.
It is a very lovely accent. Javier Ramirez, principal of Matilla Junior High School, and I'm here to recognize one of our wonderful, all-time bestest teachers, Mrs. L'Oreal. She offers special education teacher. She's been with the district for the last 18 years. So she's 1 year older than me in that sense. I've been with the district for 17 years. Okay? She's a wonderful teacher, very knowledgeable colleague, and a mother figure to to all of her students. She's a great resource to have on campus and always goes, people say they go the extra mile. Ms. Salford goes the extra marathon, okay, for all of her students. She's one of the few people that will stay on Fridays until 5 p.m. and will come on weekends and work over the breaks, believe it or not. I experienced that with her this year, to ensure that all of her students are getting the best possible chance, not only academically, but in life. I was honored to do an evaluation of her last year, and I was looking through my notes, and here's a quick note that I wrote about Mrs. Albert. I was very impressed with classroom management. So this is me walking into the classroom, seeing her in action. I was very impressed with the classroom management as well as time management during the lesson. Ms. Salford started by explaining to the kids what the day was going to look like. He had notes on the board to show the class the expectations. Kids were engaged and actively participated during the entire lesson. There was no dead time during this class. Ms. Salford used her technology to maximize the student engagement. She was teaching the very difficult and intimidating concept of solving algebraic equations. You guys know what that is? I can show you really quick. She did it in a relaxed, student-friendly fashion. I was very pleased to see that her students were engaged and willing to participate in the lesson. This lesson was a reflection of her hard work and dedication to each one of her students. I feel very proud and honored to be part of Ms. Salford's team. Ms. Salford, thank you for everything you do for our staff and for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I want to say something too, and if you know me, it's very hard to compliment me, but I'm very humble. Honored by this. Thanks to the
I'm Carol Paquette, and I'm honoring Joyce McCarthy, who is in charge of attendance and scheduling. And I wrote a poem for her. There once was a woman named Joyce. Her job was to give the kids a voice. Choir, PE, or band, she lends them a hand, so they leave feeling they had a choice. To them, she's just like a mom, for Bill, Sue, Taryn, or Tom. They come in the mobs, some look like slobs, and they leave saying she was the bomb. She listens to excuses all day. I'm late, I'm sick, some they say. There's always a new excuse out of the blue, and she does it all for her pay. She's just not an assistant to me. She's my laugh and slap on the knee. She brings joy and a reason to the job every season, and I leave each day with some sleep.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was really sweet. Thank you, and I really enjoy working in Toronto very much. Place can work. Yay!
I am Dawn Damianos, I'm the principal at Miners Oak School, and I get to talk about two people today. The first one is Michaela Avarkin, and she's our certificated teacher of the year. So stand up. So all right.
I'm a crier.
So you can sit there and cry and I'll talk. So Michaela got her credential and master's degree through UCSB, and she's our SDC teacher for grades K through 3. This is only her second year as a credentialed teacher, and she's highly thought of at Miners Oaks. Words that describe her are energetic, enthusiastic, fun, very creative, and generous. She's always willing and able to help out her fellow teachers. She's definitely a team player. One of her specialties is supporting gen ed teachers who might have a student that has very noticeable negative behaviors. And she might talk with that teacher, and then she'll say, oh, okay, I think I can help you a little bit, and she'll whip up a token system like that and hand it over to the teacher and help them with that student. She loves to participate in our school-wide activities. She's worn capes, I think you've done crazy hair, neon day. She really went all out for that as well. So she's always a lot of fun. Some fun facts about her: she's fluent in American Sign Language. She's going to Fiji for her honeymoon in the summer. And she not only bakes fantastic cupcakes, but she really knows how to decorate them as well. The staff that work in her room have one little thing they wanted me to read to you. Miss A, thank you for everything you do. We all appreciate your love, care, attention, and dedication that you give to our kiddos and us. But most of all, thank you for being the great co-worker and friend you are, because without that, we couldn't be a great team. We want you to know we do not only feel lucky to have you, but we feel blessed. We know there are many more fun years to come working with you. And that's from the staff that works with us. And would you come up and introduce who you brought with you today before you get your plaque? And they're gonna have to arm wrestle, right? Over who goes dinner?
Yeah. So Ryan.
I'm proud of
That's my fiance. I guess. Miners Oaks is a really special school. And I cry a lot, so that's it.
Before we go on to the next recipient, please, this is my error, please introduce anybody who came today to be with you at this event.
Okay. And for Miners Oaks, our classified employee of the year is Carol James. Carol, wait a minute. We haven't even started. Carol, tell us who's here with you today before you start crying.
My daughter Courtney, and my fiance Nathan, and my husband Alan. He used to work at Airmont Market for years before he retired, and which is now the Rite Aid. And then my grandson Lucas.
So Carol has worked for Ojai Unified School District for 35 years.
I'm only 25.
There's no way I'll be able to tell you every job she's done, although she'll probably help me and insert a few things as I go, I'm sure. So of those 33 years, she's been at Miners Oaks School. And I think she likes it there. And she calls Miners Oaks her second home. She's currently an aide in the resource program at Miners Oaks, but has held other positions in our district as well. She said she's done summer school front office, Title I aide, custodial for a summer, noon duty. She's really good at helping out when we're in a bind. If we need to fill a position for a little bit of time, she's our gal. She's covered noon duty, crossing guard, and front office at Miners Oaks. And I'm sure she'd cover for me if I asked her to. She's in my office, no problem. She's generous. If you need a coupon from anywhere. Barnes, Michaels, See's Candy. I mean, she's gonna whip it out and it's yours. Because she's really great about that. Another one of Carol's great people skills is that she bakes. She makes a wonderful apricot cobbler, brownies, cakes, and can bake an entire pumpkin with a delicious bread pudding filling, which is my personal favorite. I just wanted you to know that, Carol. Once a month, she bakes goodies to recognize the birthdays for that month. And if you don't have time to get to the staff room to go get the goodie, especially if it was your month of your birthday, she's going to hand deliver the treat to you. You are not leaving without the treat. She's probably most famous for her little loaves of banana bread. You've lost a family member, had a baby, just got married, you know that personal loaf is headed your way. Carol, we thank you for bringing sweetness into our lives and congratulate you on being awarded our Miners Oaks Classified Employee of the Year.
Daughter.
Yeah.
Thank you. A lot of you know I've taught Alfred, I've been maybe with Alfred's kids, I've been maybe with Carol Paquette's kids, I've been with your kids, I've been with her kids, I mean, there's all these kids I know, and I know all these people, and I do a place to go in summertime, which I love. This will be my 4th year there. I love being there with the little kids, preschoolers, because then when they come to school, I could say, and they remember me, so it doesn't make them feel so disjointed from being there. You know, being, because it was a place to go for 3 or 4 years, and they all still make some that Myers Oaks, they go, I don't know this school, but then when I go say hi, it makes them feel at home, so. I love Ohio, I'll probably either die at work or, I don't know. I love my job.
Please don't, for the sake of the kids.
I know. We'll wake up one day, that's I guess. I love my job, I really do.
And not only that, I do want to add one thing. Like clockwork, every week, she also volunteers at our son's school too.
Oh,
Yeah.
on Mondays,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that, because he's only in 2nd grade, but the True Unified only goes to 5th grade as far as volunteers, so I have 3 more years. And my other grandkids are in San Diego, so can't do nothing there.
I'm Alex Triggs. I have the privilege of teaching 3rd grade with Chris Hess, and I'm really excited that he was chosen as Neuromoney's Teacher of the Year. As someone who works closely with him on a day-to-day basis, I have firsthand knowledge of how much he goes the extra mile for his students. He motivates them by working outside, presenting information in new and exciting ways, and really getting to know them. His students have a very well-rounded educational experience because of his innovative style and creative techniques. He has a reputation as an excellent teacher, and kids are excited to be in his class. On top of all this, he's a really fun guy to work with. Nothing shakes his cool and collected demeanor, and he takes his morning DJ responsibility seriously. He makes pancakes in the staff room and takes lighthearted meeting notes. He's our technology guru, patiently solving all of our tech problems and never complaining. His colleagues describe him as creative, an out-of-the-box thinker, amazing, dedicated, and inspiring. He's beloved by students, parents, and staff. He doesn't love me sharing this, but Chris and I go way back. 19 years back to when I was a 3rd grader in his class at Neuromoney. He inspired me to learn and grow as an 8-year-old kid, and he still does today. Now I teach 3rd grade with him at Neuromoney, and I'm reminded all the time why I wanted to be a teacher. So Chris, thanks for that. You're so deserving of this recognition.
I got that part about 19 years ago. Hard to believe it. Thank you. Very nice.
You're up.
Sorry, I'm in shock. I'm still thinking about 19 years. It's hard to believe. So who is John Gonzalez? John's under the impression that he and I are here to fulfill some sort of male to female ratio quota for these awards. That's just the kind of guy he is. He's a very humble man. Fell in love with John about 20 years ago when I went to, started at Neuromoney, shortly before I had Alex in my class. While John believes it's a ratio quota thing, others believe that he got this recognition based on his merit, his hard work, his kindness. And over the years, we've seen that John's character goes far beyond keeping a clean, safe campus. Our little boy has grown up to be an amazing father, a doting softball tournament cheerleader, great-grandfather, not a great-grandfather. Great-grandfather? Great-grandfather. And you know, even if you catch his wife on a good day, she'd even have some kind things to say about him. He'd never let you know that, though. He's the guy at work who puts your inconsequential problems in check with a quick joke or relatable story that kind of puts things into perspective really quickly. Making sure that big problems don't come your way and joking away the small problems. We had several comments about John. After censoring most of them, we're going to be young ears in the room, there's one here that kind of sums up the rest of them. Written by one of our staff members. He's leaving a huge hole in the spirit of Miramonte. His humor and kindness, and even his occasional surly remark, will be missed beyond measure. He made it fun to come to work. And most of the other comments are much of the same. So John, you'll be missed by the dozens of people that have worked directly with you. I know this sounds like a eulogy. For those of you that don't know, he's retiring this year too. So. As you pass from God's country of Fillmore to make your weekly in-person donation to the Shumash College Fund, please don't forget to stop by and say hi. Even Kent's made it from Montana a few times. You can make it from Fillmore. Anyway, John, congratulations. It's a well-deserved recognition, and it's been a long time in coming. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you.
You can't get him to talk about himself.
Thank you all.
Hello everyone, I'm Dave Munson. I'm the assistant principal at Nordhoff High School, and it's my pleasure to present Nordhoff's Teacher of the Year, Merv Van Acker. Who's with you today, Merv?
I got my wife Laura and my son.
Welcome. So Merv is chosen by his colleagues for his excellence working with students and families in our special day class program, but also for his leadership in the district as a union negotiator and member of the 7-Eleven committee. In just his first year on campus, Merv stepped up and was willing to assist with campus and athletic supervision, and he helped me immensely establish a positive school culture with high levels of expectations for our students. And I know the challenges of being a new teacher, but despite that, Merv consistently offered his support and time outside the classroom, and I'm very grateful for that. Now in his 6th year at Nordhoff, Merv transitioned to a new role on campus, and he's knocked it out of the park. He's created a culture of inclusion with his students with exceptional needs, and his efforts have earned him high praise from staff and parents alike. I'm proud to serve alongside Merv as we continue to establish kindness and respect for all students on campus, regardless of their background and abilities. So please join me in thanking Merv Van Acker for all he's done for our campus, our students, and our families, and congratulate him for a well-deserved honor.
I just want to say, thank you to Dave and Greg for the mentorship in the last 6 years, and I couldn't have done this without the support of all the Gen Ed teachers and the certificate or classified staff, everyone who I've crossed paths with, and the service providers. So thank you. This is for all
So, I love Nordhoff High School, and I do not love change. And a few years ago, our longtime bilingual assistant, Maria Ramirez, decided it was time to retire after about 21 years in the district, and I knew we were going to have to work really hard to find someone to fill her shoes. And I'm so grateful that we found Susan Duran because she's been everything that we needed and more. And you may have heard that we are in the midst of more change at Nordhoff, and it's been difficult to harness all of my emotions, the happiness, the sadness, and the gratitude. But it's brought great joy to be able to celebrate Susan and all that she's done, and I'm so grateful that you can see that we all recognize what you do and how much you do for us. And I felt like it was necessary for me to explain my emotional state to you, because the only way I was really able to channel those emotions was also into a poem, but I see that I'm with my people here. And Susan, it's not just any poem, it's an acrostic, and it will go on your refrigerator, I am sure. So Susan, this is who you are, selfless. There's no length you won't go to in order to help students be successful, no matter how much time it takes, what prep you have to do, or how far out of your own way you must go. Unbelievably organized and efficient, you also possess a Mary Poppins quality. There's nothing you can't do, no matter how many tasks I give you and how little time I give you to get them done in. You're supportive, you look out for the best interests of our students and teachers, you do what you can to make things easier for all of us, and you go above and beyond in your duties. Attentive, your intuition is impeccable, and your attention to detail helps our students and teachers maximize their time together in our classrooms. And lastly, most importantly, necessary. Simply put, we couldn't be who we are and where we are without you. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Teresa Detter. I'm the principal of San Antonio and Summit Schools, and I asked Kate to be up here as I spoke about her because, or as I speak about her, she is an incredible part of the San Antonio team. She's our 4th and 5th grade teacher, and I clearly recall the first time I met her. It was at a district-wide training over at Tullaha, and all the teachers were moving around. It was a really good technology training, and I remember sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, how do I do this?" And here's this friendly person right next to me going, "Oh, just kind of do it like that." So she helped me the entire time. I was over at Tullaha for this training. And then fast forward maybe a year and a half later, she's there in an interview, and I'm going, "Oh, I don't think anybody else knows her." I feel teacher. So it was the greatest win ever, because nobody else knew her, and I'm thinking, "Oh man, she is an unknown force, and I get to have her at San Antonio." So I was really glad that I was able to snag her. And she's an incredible teacher all the way around, but one of her fortes is science. And so she does the most amazing science lesson to talk about digestion. And it's a lesson she came up with on her own, and the kids are learning hands-on the intricacy of, from start to finish, what and it's quite inspirational, moving maybe. And the kids are learning so well, and it's beautiful. She's got this lab coat on, and she goes, "Yes, we're going to be doing this." And that's what her lessons are like throughout the day, throughout the year. She's an incredible teacher. The staff is so strong, and it's because of people like her. And she's a great collaborator. I think I was mentioned in all the teacher comments, but let me read one of the highlights here. In the two years that I've been able to be a colleague of Kate, I can't think of a better person to receive this award. Kate is an innovator who's always searching for the best way to teach our students and to support her colleagues. Kate spends a tremendous amount of time dedicated to our school, both after school and on the weekends, always with a smile on her face. I know that if I ever needed anything, Kate would be there, and it's very reassuring. And it's very reassuring as teachers that we always feel like because we have so much to do, she's always there for me and for all of us together. I feel so fortunate to be teaching at the same school with such a great thinker, innovator, and kind person. Whether it be a large school or a small school, I don't think there's a better teacher out there than
Mrs. Kate Spiker. So I think that's.
Yes, I'm here with my father, Ron Johnson, and my husband, Brent, and my dear friends and colleagues, Robin Munson and Christy Thatcher.
Ava's currently in Miss Fiva's class, and so she can attest to everything that has happened.
Thank you so much.
You.
I have to say thank you. I feel like that kid that's opened the door to the teacher's lounge accidentally right now. I'm looking around the room and I see so many people who have been inspirations along my way. From teachers, from my first grade teacher, I hope she doesn't thank me for saying that later, Miss Oakland, to the first teacher whose room I worked in when I wanted to become an educator, was with Karen Dingman, to my mentor teacher, Mr. Greg LaFine back there. So thank you all. It's a huge honor to be here with you all today. It's such an amazing district, so thank you.
My name is Elaine Racer, and I am so excited to be celebrating Karen Dingman, our English Teacher Educator of the Year. And I'm not usually a crier, but if I look at her, when I think of Karen, I think of a remarkable, respected role model and leader. I really have to look. I think of a devoted friend and colleague. I think of an inspiring, attentive second grade teacher and a tireless worker. Those are the first things that come to my mind. And then I thought of a list of all these things that she does, and I wondered, is this humanly possible? That she's a loving wife and mother. She is a trusted second grade teacher. She produces the second grade play every year. She organizes the yearbook. She coordinates the student study team meetings. She volunteers in her children's classroom. And then I stopped, and I just was like, but this doesn't say who Karen is. And so I thought again, and I thought, what is it that makes Karen so special and such like not only a wonderful colleague, someone to work with, but just a most wonderful friend? And I thought it's her ability to be generous, that she shines in the generosity of everything she does. It's like the art of giving. Every minute she gives all of herself, all of her time, to her students, to her friends, to her colleagues, to whatever she's doing. And I thought that seemed to sum her up so much better than this long list, which is amazing. And so I just want to honor and celebrate Karen so much. And I would love to tell stories, but I'm not going to do that all night. And then I was just given, am I trying to read this? This is a poem by one of her former students, Emily Oakland. That's the first time I've seen it, so I'll try to do it justice. A teacher, they say, wears many a hat, the hat of a counselor, an actor, a doctor, and a diplomat. But there are a handful, only a select few, that graciously wear as many hats. The hat of a friend you wear with such grace, all quickly flop to your selfless embrace. You're organized, thoughtful, and generous to all, with a radiant smile that lights up the hall. The hat of a parent you wear with such pride, as a coach, friend, teacher, and guide. Your skills as a parent are clearly the best, as any teacher in school will surely attest. The hat of a teacher you wear with such ease, a hat so intricate with multiple degrees. Add drama teacher, musical director, and yearbook aficionado. How you maintain such optimism, we may never know. Though a class you may teach for only a year, in the hearts of the students you'll always be a dear. With kindness unwavering as you did not even dart when a student presented you with a nosebleed guitar. Should have looked at this first. The hats I have mentioned are only a few,
As the years pass, they'll certainly improve. We're in awe of your ability to balance them all while upholding your energy as you bounce down the hall. So thank you for wearing all the hats that you do, for without them all, you wouldn't be.
I just have to say, I just have to say that Emily Oakland did make me a picture with her bloody nose. And that's why that was in that comment. That was really hilarious, and it is something that we joke about to this day. I'm close to speechless, but never really am. And so I just want to say thank you, because I really do appreciate it, and I really do love what I do, and I really do love the people that I do it with, and I really do appreciate the people in this room who have played a part in everything that goes on in this district for all of my children, including mine. So thank you, all of you as well.
I didn't get the poem memo, but I wrote what I needed to write in a card so that you can keep it. I'll be back. Will you come up with me? I'll be. This is Gabi Becker. I'm Susan Dvorak. I have had the privilege of teaching with Gabi at Topa in a special ed classroom. And so she is our classified teacher of the year. Yes. So the history of Gabi is that she came from Germany when you were like in your 30s. Her husband got a job from Germany in Ojai, and here they are. She started teaching at a preschool that closed, and you taught there for how many years?
It was actually elementary, they went to junior high, and then back to elementary, so 18 years.
A beloved teacher. We at Ojai Unified was lucky to employ Gabi about 5 years ago. Miramani had her first. She was a one-on-one aide. And that student transferred over to Topa, and there were a lot of phone calls like, you got Gabi, and I was like, yeah, okay, great, great. And, the first time you meet Gabi, you get a big hug, like right away. And she takes you in and is a ray of sunshine. And like all of you in here, there's not enough, we could go on and on and on. So not only is Gabi a one-on-one instructional assistant to this one child, but in 6th grade, but she, and does amazing things for this child, but she has affected every 6th grader at our school. Every 6th grader knows her, every 6th grader wants to be tutored by her, wants to be in her group. Every 6th grader, I've had parents come up to me and go, this woman, Gabi Becker, my kid wants to be tutored by her this summer. And these children don't even need to be tutored. They just want to be with Gabi. We all just want to be with Gabi. Gabi will come any free moment Gabi has. She'll go to the office. What do you guys need? She'll go into just any random classroom. Do you need anything? We all knew who Gabi was right away. And I remember the first time I really got who you were was, our first back to school night at the beginning of the year. There's Gabi with the PTA busting a move, sweating, doing this, and I'm like, what are you doing here? She goes, I just love this stuff. And I was like, wow. Really, has touched every staff member, every 6th grader, and I'm sure beyond that, she does after school interventions. She's always toting her bags. I sometimes forget that she's not the master teacher. She's truly incredible and such a find for Ojai Unified. I just feel incredibly blessed that I've got to witness your art of teaching and your wisdom and your patience, and I hope we get to keep you.
Thank
The blessing is all mine. I have been so spoiled this year, so thank you. Thank you.
You're her husband?
Yes. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't know. Thank you. Thank you.
Probably.
Did we correct?
So I'm David Rogers, I'm Director of Technology, and Augie and I have worked together extensively. It's quite a handoff between the two departments. And the thing that I've enjoyed the most about Augie is his work ethic. Every single person who's had a problem come up with Augie, you know it's going to be solved. He'll let you know if it won't be that day. His follow-up is incredible, and that old adage, if you do everything right, nobody will know you did anything at all. I just think of that all the time when I think of Augie. It just works. The second week, I think you joined us in our office, the magical broken sink was fixed. And I've been there 7 years, it was broken the whole time. Just worked on it. He sees things, he's always got his head on a swivel when he's out on site, and just, it's so important in this small district to have somebody who's watching out. Aside from his work ethic, it's just amazing to see him develop himself. Been listening to his stories about learning HVAC and heat pumps, AC pumps, and many may not know that some of the stuff on the roof is old. It's every contractor says get rid of it, get something new, and he says no, I can fix it. They want $3,000 to fix it, and he gets a $200 part. He's got it up in a week, and that's just amazing to me. Just really, really awesome. The one thing though, you always have to throw that little evaluation. What does he not do correctly? Well, he doesn't leave on time. I actually thought it'd be really great to have his plaque be a picture of his house at quitting time, because I don't think he's ever seen it. So, thank you very much, Augie, for all you do. You really deserve this.
I decided to insert myself as a postscript here. Because as I think about Augie and think about what people have said about him over the years, if you think about the concept of the cavalry, Augie is the Ohio Unified School District version of the cavalry. Because if someone says, it's broken, oh my God, we're not going to be able to get anything done, and then they hear, Augie's on his way. That is absolutely what happened. Everybody just chills, and they know, as David said, soon thereafter, a part will be coming, Augie will be coming, and it will be fixed. He just has an unbelievable skill set that I marvel at, because I just can't do what he does. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulate everybody for following the script except Javier.
That's my job. Make sure that things are
You just want to introduce yourself twice, I guess. So I want to, although it's not technically the program, I want to introduce the other half of what they have termed themselves T and T. Teresa and Tiarza. I've been on the Ohio Education Foundation board since the day I came, really, so we're talking about almost 8 years. I've seen a lot of iterations of leadership, a lot of different styles. Each one has been great, but these two, if you don't mind the pun, have absolutely lit a stick of dynamite under that group because between the two of them, they have a complementary skill set. They enjoy doing some different things in a leadership role, and this group is the most organized I've seen it. Andy, you're inheriting quite a group, a large group. It's the largest board since I've been here. Also, the last thing I'll say before I turn the podium over to Tiarza, which you wouldn't necessarily know, is that a number of years ago, actually the first time I met Andy, was back when we had a county-wide program where relatively similar members of foundations came together, presidents, superintendents, etc. And what I learned there, and is still the case, is that on a per pupil basis, the Ohio Education Foundation is somewhere between second and third out of about 15 districts in the county.
Wow.
That raises money on behalf of the students. So it's something to be very proud of. I have no doubt that if you're second or third, you're on your way to first. So thank you both for great leadership over the last short period of time with more to come. So,
Well, I have to say thank you again, Hank, for your leadership and your guidance for the entire district, and also for your guiding light on the Ohio Education Foundation. We really appreciate everything that you've done for us, so thank you.
my pleasure.
And I'm going to take my cue from these amazing recipients and keep this very short and sweet. But really, again, on behalf of the Ohio Education Foundation, including our board members, Therese Hartman, our co-president, Joyce Robinson. I got it barely with McCarthy. Joyce McCarthy was also awarded today. And of course, Andy and Hank. We just really wanted to thank all of you for the amazing amount of work, time, energy that you put into helping our children become better versions of themselves. Whether you're in front of the classroom or behind the scenes, clearly everything that you all have done have made such an amazing impact. And so we really want to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts. So let's give them all a great round.